The Paul Leslie Hour, helping people tell their stories. And now, your host, Paul Leslie.
Hey, it's me. It's a great honor to be welcoming a Nashville-based rock and roller, MOTE, a.k.a. Joe Schneider. His latest release is the 7-song EP entitled Get the Door. Joe is in London at the moment. Thank you very much for making the time to check in with us.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thanks so much for having me on.
It's a pleasure. So tell us, how is London?
It is much cooler than it is in the South United States right now, I'll tell you that. It's beautiful, man. I'm just over here. My little sister is getting married on Thursday, so our whole family's over here.
Oh, that must be nice.
It's beautiful, man.
Do you get to travel a lot being a musician?
Yeah. I used to travel a lot more when I was younger because I used to just be a freelance bass player and singer for hire. So I was constantly on the road since I was about 17. And I travel a little bit less these days, but starting to pick up a little bit more since we're put the record out.
And you're based out of Nashville. What brought you to Nashville? Was it the music?
Well, I was born there.
Ah, so okay.
I suppose you could say that, but I don't remember making the decision.
Do you think that there's any misconceptions that people have about Nashville? I mean, you would know, having been born there.
Yeah, totally. Because I think it's primarily known as, a kind of hub of country music, and gospel is a really big part of the music industry there in terms of like a national, or global recognition. But there is everything there, man. Like, I grew up playing so much hip hop and R&B and rock and roll. Like, I was always in rock bands since I was a kid, and it was, a bit more disparate, of course. Like when Nashville was like really exploded. My whole life, but especially like in the last 10 years, and it's just getting cooler by the day, man. Because, I think so many people have come here that want to do stuff other than, well, not here, sorry, there, that want to make other kinds of music. And so it's getting mixed up, with one another. And there's some really interesting new stuff coming out of there. It's really fantastic people. So it's quite a cool time to live there.
You were just mentioning a moment ago this new record of yours, and
yeah,
we've been talking about the world since you're out there across the ocean. One of the songs, I just love this song, and it's just so soothing to listen to. And I'm talking about your song, Worldwide Love.
Oh, sweet. Thanks, man.
It's a great song. So tell us, what was the influence there?
Well, funnily enough, have you heard of the Glastonbury Festival over here in England?
I have not.
It's sort of like, are you in New York? Is that where you're at?
I'm in Atlanta at the moment.
Oh, you're in Atlanta. Okay. Well, it's like, it's like Bonnaroo or Coachella, except I think it's about 3 or 4 times as big. And it's just it's just sort of the ideal of what these, music festivals are all about, being very peaceful and there's all this love, and it's just this very like uplifting experience. And it's a camping festival like those are. And I didn't really know it while I was writing it that I was specifically thinking about Glastonbury, but I was just sort of putting myself in my head in front of a giant festival crowd, and what would I be wanting to play. And that's how I kind of thought, or that's how the riff sort of came to me, and it just went from there. I was just thinking about kind of where I wanted to be playing something like that. And then lyrically it sort of, went from there, opening up into just kind of, I can't exactly say what the song is about, but I think it's something to do with kind of a waking up or expanding yourself, growth, stuff like that. So, but it also kind of started with the idea of, I think, having a festival in mind, which is sort of an idyllic, version of, maybe what life on Earth could be, if you will.
Who would you say your biggest influences are?
Musically?
Yeah.
gosh, I don't know. It's just so ever changing. But I mean, I grew up listening to a lot of rock and roll and hip hop. I mean, that stuff was like really happening when I was a kid. But I began studying like jazz later on and stuff. So I mean, bands. I mean, rock bands I grew up listening to, like Nirvana and the Red Hot Chili Peppers, are huge for me, especially as a bass player. So I was way into Flea. But I got really into electronic music. I mean, Aphex Twin, Square Pusher. I love Miles Davis a whole lot. And more recently, like St. Vincent has been a massive influence on me, and Wolf Alice from over in England. I don't know if you know them, but they're fantastic. It's really all over the place. I really just like anything that's good.
Do you think it's important as an artist to expose yourself to a lot of different things?
Yes, of course. I mean, musically and otherwise. I mean, I think the whole thing with art is to just take anything from anywhere in life, that you want. I mean, it all kind of ends up being a reference point, for your own perspective. And so saying with World Wide Love about opening up and growing, like, I think the more you can do that in any direction, the more that it's going to serve anything you're trying to make.
What does the name MOTE mean? I see sometimes it's capitalized MOTE for all the listeners out there. What's the origins of that?
It's a nickname that my dad gave me when I was a kid. And so I don't know that it didn't mean anything to me as a child. It does mean like, a speck or like a mote of dust is referenced in this real famous Carl Sagan quote about the Earth, which I quite liked when I decided to use the name. But it's more of just that because I was in many, many bands for many years that kept falling by the wayside, and kind of just had a moment where I didn't know anyone that I wanted to work with in terms of an artistic, a writing partner, and I just decided to do it all myself. So I picked that name because it was sort of like, it was this childhood name that my dad gave me and still calls me. I mean, it is a solo project, I suppose, but I didn't want to think of it like that. But it just felt like it was me, at sort of at the core.
Interesting.
Yes, sir.
Do you consider yourself an optimist?
I do, for sure. For sure. I know that's not necessarily, or maybe I never thought that was always the coolest thing, but after some of the, crazy stuff that I've gone through, that we all go through and stuff, I've really realized like that's one of the things that helps me make it through the tough times, is trying to find the good and the difficult experiences and the good and the good experiences. And like I say, all that, you really use anything from life to help you keep making it to the next thing. So yeah, I do think it's a big, an important part of my life is being fairly optimistic.
You just mentioned getting through to the next thing, because anytime you pursue anything, whether you're an artist or somebody who's working at some kind of occupation, whatever, you have to push through to the next thing. How do you get the energy? Yeah. It's a long road when you're an artist. No doubt. How do I get the energy? I don't know. I mean, I think being optimistic helps, honestly. I mean, like, thinking that there's this great Joan Rivers quote that struck me like about 10 years ago that, I don't know if you know this, but it doesn't get better. You get better. And I do think that, I always think that things are going to keep improving somehow, or just that, going through difficult stuff, making yourself stronger, means that it'll somehow be better. And, that concept, and as well as, man, there's nothing more in the world that I love than creating music and playing. I mean, I just get such a high from it and so much joy from it that it really is not, as long as I have that going, kind of anything else that comes, I can handle. Is there anything you want people to get from your music, whether someone is seeing you perform or they're listening to you on Spotify? What would you say is your end goal? I think I sort of just want to pass on what was passed on to me, which was, inspiration, good feelings. I think the greatest thing about artists is that
by just being who they are as unabashedly as possible, that's like inspired and driven so many people to, do that for themselves and to just really, go inward and dig deep and see who they are, because we're all really individuals. And so, that's a pretty grand ask, but I just hope to pass on a sense of self-exploration and uplift people, or at least, help them feel less alone, maybe. I don't know. That's what music always, and my favorite artists have done for me. So I just wanted to be a part of it as much as I possibly could, from a pretty young age.
Do you have a preferred instrument when you're writing songs? Do you have one that you like the most to compose on?
No, not really. So I grew up as a bass player and a singer. So those are like, I call it, those are my main axes. But I write a lot on keyboards. I write drum ideas and then write to those. I write on guitar a whole lot. I wrote on the bass a lot. It can kind of be anywhere. Or I'll just be walking down the street, and hear a melodic idea or a lyrical idea to the sound of my feet. Or it can really come from anywhere. I like having it come from different places because that, I think, keeps the material more versatile.
I always like to give the guest the microphone. We just never know who's listening. It's just incredible. You and I are talking from across the pond.
Yeah.
For anyone who's listening in, what would you say to them? Completely open-ended.
Well, wow. Hi, how are you? And I hope you're having a lovely day. If not, I hope tomorrow's better. And hang in there and find the things you love and find the people you love. Stick with them.
Everybody can visit the website. It's motemusic.com, MOTE music.com. The music is on Spotify. There's a great lyric video that everybody can check out for that song Worldwide Love. I suggest they check that out. How do you define Joe Schneider?
Oh, my God. I don't know, man. I've been working on that one the whole time. I don't know. I don't think I could put it into words. It's more of a feeling, really. And it's more of it's an elusive feeling, I think. But all I can say is that I do and have always felt pretty uniquely me. And that's what I would wish for everyone. But I don't know that I could put that into words at all.
Well, Joe, I thank you very much for spending time with us. Congratulations on the EP, Get the Door. It's a great pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's a great pleasure to talk to you, man. I appreciate all your kind words and for having me on, and best of luck to you, brother.
All right. I hope we can cross paths down the road, and maybe you'll be performing in Atlanta, where I am at the moment.
Yes, sir. We're looking to do that this fall.
All right. Until next time.
Okay. Cheers, Paul. See ya.
Pop, pop, doodly zing, bang, doodly knock, cock, cheap, da boo, bippity bata gotcha, gee, da, pop, pop, better like a teen. Oh, get a gig, madam, oh, she like off a tulsa column, okay, luck upon, goodbye.